Hello, welcome to the Concepts and Keywords presentation by Barking and Dagenham Speech and Language Therapy team. I'm Audrey.
And I'm Amy.
And we're going to be talking about concepts and keywords today. Please pause if you need more time to read the slides, or pause here and watch 1A training on identifying speech and language communication needs and creating a quality communication environment, as well as 1B training on strategies and working on targets for children with SLCN videos before coming back to this video. Today we're going to talk about concepts and keywords. We will touch on what they are, why they are important, and some key points, ideas, and examples to take into consideration. First, we are going to touch on why concepts and keywords are important. Concepts and keywords often come up in instructions. We will touch on what they are in later slides, but first, let's have a look at what we subconsciously do when we follow instructions. We need to be able to hear, attend and listen, understand the words, have motivation to follow the instruction, remember the instruction, recall what needs to be done, plan the correct actions, do the actions, and self-monitor. As you can see, following instructions can be quite complex and require skills in attention, listening, understanding of language, and also relies on skills in processing, memory, and executive function, such as planning actions, sequencing the order of actions, monitoring the actions that have been done, and remembering what needs to be done next. This training is focused on understanding the words within the instructions. Now we're moving on to what concepts are.
Okay, so a concept is an idea that allows us to describe things and talk about what we have done or what we are going to do. And there are many different kinds of concepts. We're going to go through just a few examples. So we have attribute concepts, which we use to describe an object. So these include the colour, the size, the textures, or the shape of an object. We have position concepts such as on top, underneath, in the middle, in front, behind, above and below. And we also have time concepts. So you might say, yesterday I went to the shops, or you might tell a child before you go outside, put your coat on, or you might ask them, what do we need to do first? You might have noticed that some of these concepts can be quite abstract, where you can experience it, but it's not concrete, you can't see or touch it. And some children or young people find these abstract concepts more difficult to learn and remember. For example, with the time concept yesterday, you can experience that you went to the shops yesterday, but you can't see or touch yesterday. It's a very abstract concept, so it can be more difficult to learn and remember. And concepts can also be relative, which means that they depend on the situation that you're using them in. For example, size concepts can be relative, like a lion is bigger than a mouse, but a lion is also smaller than an elephant. So it really depends on the situation that the concept is being used in. Okay, we're going to give you an opportunity now to think of different concept words. So go ahead and pause the video and have a look at the picture and think of some concept words to describe the things that you can see going on. Try to think of some more concrete concepts as well as some more abstract concepts. Okay, hopefully you've had some time to think of some concept words. Here are some that you might have thought of. And as you can see, these ones are more concrete. Things like red and stripes, in, next to. And here are some more abstract ones. For example, the feeling of happiness is a more abstract concept. And so as you can see, even going to a playground, there are loads of concepts that are both concrete and abstract. So next, we're going to talk about the development of concepts and the concept checklist. It's difficult to say exactly when children acquire different concepts, but typically children have to understand language before they can use language. And for concepts, the typical order for acquiring them is first to understand fixed attributes such as colour, shape, size. For example, apples are round and either green or red, and these are things that are always the same, so they are fixed attributes. Next, they need to appreciate that some attributes are not fixed but relative. For example, cats are bigger than mice, but cats are smaller than elephants. Then they develop an understanding of a wide range of different concepts at a concrete level, directly related to the here and now. For example, oh, you dropped your towel in the water and now it is wet. Or let's stand behind the lady in the queue. And finally, as their overall language skills develop and as they gain more real-world experience, their understanding becomes increasingly more abstract, and they can begin to understand language which relates to the past and the future. For example, the time concepts after, yesterday, and tomorrow. And of course, as with the development of language, development of concepts is not linear. For example, a child may understand the time concept today, which we use a lot in our everyday talking, before they understand a shape concept such as slope or curved, which we don't use as much. Okay, so hopefully we have an understanding of how concepts develop. We're now going to look at a useful resource, the concept checklist, which was created by someone called Locke. And Locke is an experienced speech and language therapist who's done lots of work developing assessments and resources to support children with learning language. And she developed this checklist to cover some concepts, and she split the vocabulary into different areas or levels. So it's based on the typical order in which children acquire concepts. The words are grouped into 4 levels that get increasingly difficult. So it's a really useful tool for deciding which concepts to work on first. So the easier levels are more to do with the fixed, concrete words, and the higher levels are more abstract. The checklist can be searched for on Google by searching Locke Living Language Checklist, and Link therapists can also be contacted to discuss the checklist further. Okay, so we're going to move on to some key considerations for teaching concepts. Here are some key things to think about. So firstly, make sure that you use a multisensory approach. Really think about the 5 senses. So think about what they can hear, use language to name the concepts, and create real life situations where they can see and feel the concepts. For example, in craft activities where they can see and feel the different textures like smooth, soft, rough. And you can also use movement to help teach concepts. For example, in PE, you can teach concepts like running fast or slow, standing inside the hoop or behind the line. And in the classroom, visual reinforcement like pictures, signs and symbols can also help. Next, ensure repetition and generalization. So make sure that the child or young person can show understanding both at home and at school with different people and in different places. For example, it's important that the child or young person can follow the instruction both at home with the parent or carer and also with their teacher. Concepts from different categories can be taught at the same time when they are very different, such as colours and movement. And there are some concepts that are related that can also be taught together, such as colours and shapes, but others where a more cautious approach should be taken, which we will cover more in the next slide. So as a general rule, make sure that the lower level concepts are understood and grasped well before moving on to teaching the high level concept. So for example, the child or young person who doesn't know long, small, full and empty, which are those fixed attributes, which are generally the first concepts to be learned, is going to have more difficulty accessing a maths or science lesson where concepts like heavier, lighter, longer are used, because these concepts are the next level up. So to support this child, make sure that the level 1 concepts are understood really well before moving on to those level 2 concepts. When a word has multiple different meanings, teach one meaning at a time. For example, the word light can be to do with weight, like a piece of paper or a feather, or it can also be to do with colour, such as light blue. So pick one of these words to work on first, and once that is understood well, then move on to the next one. And as we mentioned in the previous slide, teaching opposite concepts is not always helpful and can cause confusion. For example, try not to teach long and short at the same time. Instead, you could teach long versus not long. Although, on the other hand, a different child or young person may benefit from having the concepts compared, for example, with wet or dry, but make sure that you use a multisensory approach so that they can really touch and feel and see the difference between those concepts really clearly. If you would like to learn more about approaches for teaching concepts, there will be some useful resources at the end of the presentation, which you can get in touch with your link therapist about. Okay, so moving on to some activity ideas. Here are some ideas for working on understanding concepts, and please also refer to training 1B to see how activities can be made easier or more difficult. So for working on size, comparison, texture and materials, there are a range of different activities you can do. For example, you could play complete the sentence, so giraffes are really, and then the child can fill in the sentence. You could play sorting or matching games, and you could play I Spy, so using attributes. For example, I spy that something is round and shiny, and then the children have to look around the room and guess what you're describing. For time and sequence, you can use real life opportunities such as lining up before or after class, lining up from tallest to shortest, oldest to youngest. You can use visual timetables to describe time and to organise sequences of events throughout the day. You can use visuals to describe the time of year. So for example, the image with the trees that you can see below can help with understanding of the seasons. And you can also use hands and gestures to describe position and sequence. So for who's first, second, last, next to, in front or behind. For direction and position, in subjects like drama and PE, children can act out the concept words and give and follow instructions with the concepts. You could also have a concept or word of the week where you pre-teach the word using word maps, and you encourage the children to use the word in sentences. And alongside this, you can put up a visual with the word and symbol or the word in a picture next to their play areas. For example, next to the water play section, you could have in and on. And you can also use this structure with the pre-teaching and the visuals to teach attribute concepts like wet or dry. And another idea is that you could have a phonic sound of the week linked to a concept. So for the sound B, you could link it to the concepts big, below or behind. And commenting what's happening at home and in the classroom and whilst they're playing is also very helpful, as well as providing a list of concepts for parents or carers with this activity suggestions, as this is going to support that generalisation where they can understand and use the words across different settings and with familiar and unfamiliar people. Setting up a home to school book can also be very helpful so that their learning can be reinforced and so that again they can use their knowledge in all their different environments. So you can set up a reward system within this. For example, if they do a practice at home, they can get a sticker, and maybe when they get 5 stickers, they can get a merit or a house point or whatever system you use in your school. And please do refer to the training 1B for more activity ideas. And Senkos and teachers can speak to the link therapist as well if they have any questions.
Hopefully we all have a number of ideas to teach concepts, and we're now going to move on to talking about what keywords are. Keywords are also known as information carrying words. Keywords can include words like names, objects, verbs, and concept words, and so on and so forth. A word is a keyword when there is an alternative option. So, to illustrate this, in the instruction, give me the cup, you might think that there are 3 keywords. However, if there is only one cup in front of the child or the young person, there is actually no keywords, especially if you stick your hand out towards a child, because your action implies that the child should place the object in your hand. When there's a bowl and a cup in front of the child, then this instruction will contain 1 keyword. And it is the same in the presence of a phone and a ball as well. But when there's another cup present, this is when you need to differentiate between the 2 cups, such as give me the blue cup. This is all assuming you are still putting your hand out while stating this. The statement has 2 keywords as there are 2 different blue items and a number of different objects available. To increase the word level, you can consider introducing another person. So it can be give Mr. K the blue cup. Give in the situation isn't really a keyword because give or pass is the most natural action. It can be a keyword if alternative verbs are used, such as throw, in instructions like throw Mr. K the ball versus throw me the phone. Hopefully, we now have a basic understanding of what keywords are, and we'll move on to the development of keyword level understanding. Here's a general order of development of keywords. Children and young people tend to have a situational or contextual understanding first, such as understanding phrases within the context. So in a game, you might do ready, steady, go prior to moving. Then they move on to understanding phrases, sentences, and instructions with 1, 2, 3, then 4 keywords, such as for 1 keyword level, where's the teddy or where's the ball? To reiterate, keywords or information carrying words are when there are alternatives to the object or item or word. For the instruction at 3-word level, put the book under the table. When you present this instruction, there should be alternatives to each keyword. So for position, it could be in, on, under. And similarly for the 2 objects, book and table, it could be teddy, book, car, or table, chair, bag. And in a 4-keyword instruction, on is not a keyword in this example because you can make the lion jump on the big box to make the car roll on the small table. If there is an alternative to the preposition, such as in, on, and under, the instruction will then be a 5-keyword level instruction. Next, we'll talk about some key considerations when giving instructions and also show some examples for giving instructions. It is important to check that you have their attention first. Are they listening to you, or are they more interested in what's on TV? Also consider the environment. Are you giving an instruction with within a structured activity when there's a limited number of options and actions that they can do? Or is the instruction given at home or somewhere in a larger place at school or the playground where many other actions can be completed? Be mindful of the vocabulary that you are using. Do they know all the words? What words can you use instead of asking for the shallow tray or swapping seats? Can you say change? Can you say small if you know that they haven't understood the more abstract words? If there's an alternative object to what you have asked for, this increases the word level. For example, if you ask for a big red bag and there's a small red bag or a big blue bag or small green bag, so on and so forth, available around them, that has increased the difficulty of the instruction that's given. You can also consider the number of keywords are in your instructions and also whether the instruction is too long. For example, some of these multi-step instructions can be said really easily in different situations, but let's have a look at how many keywords there are in those instructions. For example, in before you go out to play, put your book on the shelf at the back of the classroom, then put your coat on. Or go upstairs and get a pair of socks for me. They're in the bottom drawer next to the bed. As you can see with the underline, there are lots and lots of keywords in those instructions. Please do refer to the training 1B about how you can make the instructions easier or make the instructions harder. Here's another example. This might be a target that a child may be set. For example, by the time of next review, for Simon to be able to follow instructions with at least 3 keywords and the concept between 80% of the time. Some instructions that can be given to Simon to see if he's achieved that target would be put your book between John's and Kate's. In that instruction, there may be 4 keywords, but if Simon is already holding the book, then perhaps book is not really a keyword in that instruction. At home, that instruction could be give me the cup that is between the toaster and the kettle. Have a look at the picture on the slide. Can you think of an instruction that contains at least 3 keywords and the concept between? One example of a instruction could be place the rubber between the unicorn and the stapler. Again, please refer to training 1B for tips and ideas on how to make instructions simpler or more difficult. Lastly, here are some resources that you could consider when looking at concepts and teaching concepts. Here are some resources that are available. Please discuss or speak to the link therapist for these ones. And here are other ones where you can click through to the website via the links, and they're available for purchase, such as the PORIC and the word aware that was mentioned previously. And here are some more. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, this is who you can ask for help. If you are a parent or a carer, please contact the school SENCO. If you are the teacher or teaching assistant, please contact the school SENCO or discuss with any questions you have with the school link SALT, and SENCOs, please contact the school link SALT.